So how does not eating affect kids in school?
Well, there's been lots of studies that show that proper nutrition have a huge impact on ability to concentrate, academic achievement, attention, all those things.
Okay, and does reduced or free lunch affect the socialization between the students?
That's a good question. I don't know if it does. I would guess that most students don't want others to know that he or she is on free reduced lunch, which is why I think the system we use now is much better. You just type in your number and nobody needs to know. It's before you used to have to actually identify yourself, and we don't have to do that anymore. So if it does impact them socially, which I'm sure that at least they perceive that it does, at least now it's anonymous.
Yeah.
How have you as an administrator been trained to deal with these situations, meaning like the children that are affected by this?
All of us, a lot of people in the district, but especially administrators, have received training on how to deal with under-resourced learners, is what they call it, but children in poverty. Ruby Payne's an expert on that, and she has been in the district, or some of her people have been in the district, probably 6 to 8 times over the last 15 years. And so I've had at least 2 workshops on dealing with that.
And what do you talk about in these workshops?
We talk about the mindset of a family in poverty. We talk about how to be more sensitive to their needs and how their needs are maybe different from an upper middle class student.
Do you notice different behaviors in those who are struggling to get food or who have free reduced, which you may not even know if they have free or reduced, but do you notice different behaviors?
I don't really, because I typically deal with curriculum and instruction. I don't deal with the behavior aspect as much. But if you're hungry, I'm guessing that it's probably a lot harder to maintain some of that self-control.
From your teaching career and your years as an administrator, do you have any stories or personal situations with our topic? And obviously, if you can't elaborate, we understand. But
I don't think I realized the extent of poverty in Quincy. So for most of my teaching career, I taught AP language, I taught upper level classes, and typically, it's not always true, but typically the kids in upper level AP courses don't tend to be living in poverty. So I really didn't get exposed to it until I became an administrator, and I had my eyes open that there are, it is a pretty big problem in Quincy. So in poverty always typically ends up with poor nutrition and maybe not getting as much food or good food as you need. And so home visits. There was a while there when my wife and I were taking home. We had a student who my wife used to work at Baldwin, and she had a student down there who didn't have heat. They had a wood burning stove. They lived in basically a cabin with a dirt floor. And so they couldn't do laundry, so we did his laundry twice a week for about 2 years. But again, I didn't even know that existed in Quincy until I got into the positions I'm in now.
What has the school or the school district done to help the community with poverty aspect?
We've had a number of different task forces over the years that try to bring community resources together. So what's out there, what's available for students who are living in poverty. And we brought a lot of community agencies into the building to help those kids. There's a homeless youth program. There's a number of different organizations that can help students and families that don't have enough to eat. So we try to connect those people as the best we can. But we've also provided poverty training for just about every teacher in the district. If you've been here for 10 years or more, I guarantee you've had at least one of those trainings.
Is there any message that you'd like to get across to students who don't realize what's going on?
I just think to be sensitive. You don't know everybody's story. It's easy to judge, and adults do the same thing. We're quick to judge, but you don't know what a student's going through at home. You don't know, what kind of resources they have. You don't know when the last time they ate a meal was, and so it's just important to keep in mind that everybody's got a story, and there's it's like I said, it's easy to judge, but just take a minute to think about it before you do.
Yeah.
And lastly, as an administrator, what is the message you'd like to get across to those who are struggling to get food in their next meal?
To ask for help. It's hard to ask for help, but we can connect you with different resources and different programs that will help you not only get food, but clothes and all the things that you need that you have to have to be successful at school.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem.